Thanks to Amazon Video Games for supporting Kinda Funny Live. Amazon debuted an awesome program for their Prime members, Prime Gamer Pricing. You can now get 20% off all your game pre-orders and also off any newly launched games up to 2 weeks after they come out. Valid on physical video games. Learn more at amazon.com/gamesave.
Kinda Funny Live 2 is this Saturday and Sunday. If you haven't got your tickets already, go get them at kindafunny.com/tickets.
For topic number 3. Unsurprisingly, I want to talk about Nintendo. Nintendo movie plans.
Oh God.
Things are happening. Things are a brew over in Nintendo land. Over at IGN, Alex Osborne writes, Nintendo president Tatsumi Kimishima confirmed the company has plans to produce feature films and is exploring a production system in which we can do as much as we can ourselves. Kimishima did not give a specific time frame as to when the company plans to release its first movie, only saying, quote, the first title won't be ready this year, but it also won't take 5 years.
Oh!
He also noted that Nintendo isn't interested in producing live-action movies, with Kimishima citing the 1993 Super Mario Bros. Film as the main reason why the company is leaning towards anime-type content when Nintendo should produce as much by itself as possible. Instead, with regard to which Nintendo franchise may be adapted, he refused to specify. This isn't the first time Nintendo's expressed interest in the movie business. Last year, Miyamoto said the company's open to movie adaptations based on its stable of beloved characters. In fact, legendary game designer released a batch of Pikmin short films in 2014. The same year, during all those Sony leaks, a hack revealed that Spider-Man producer Avi Arad was in negotiations with Nintendo to produce an animated Super Mario Bros. Movie, which would have been through Sony Pictures, and that would have been interesting. And then last year, there was those Netflix rumors about the Zelda series that are not panning out. What do you think?
Good luck. I don't know. Are they, my concern is, are they all going to be like direct to DVD movies? Or are they going to be real movies, like come to a theater? Or are they going to be Netflix projects, which would be cool too? There's a bunch of cool ways to do it, but there's so many different ways for it to go wrong. You figure they're going to do a Mario. They have to be looking at Mario, right? But I think when you talk to us and you talk to other people who are probably watching this, core gamers, you're jumping to, man, a Zelda movie would be awesome. Maybe a Metroid movie would be awesome. Like taking these worlds that are cool but don't get super fleshed out with story and giving them characters, letting them go. Like they talked about, anime style, right? Like Legend of Zelda anime would be awesome if done right. But then just a CG movie of Legend of Zelda in the theaters would be fucking rad too, and it would set the world on fire if you gave it the real promotional push and the right writers and the right director. And it's similar to what we're talking about with Disney and like how they're partnering with the best people for the best IPs. If Nintendo was like, all right, cool, let's go, and they wanted to do some of it in house, which is when it's like, it'd be cool. Like, what if you went to Pixar and we're like, let's fucking make a Nintendo movie. Which property you want to do, or do you have some kind of goofy idea to bring them all together?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the in-house thing is a good thing. I think that what they're talking about is not necessarily doing the movie stuff, but it's more about the writing and the characters and the story and all of that stuff. Like recently they did in the launch for Star Fox Zero, one of the few good things about that game was the anime that came with it. Yeah. It was fucking awesome. Like I was like, how did you nail this so well? How did you get the characters and that was
written in house or done everything in house?
I don't know the exact things, but I mean I know that Nintendo made it. They commissioned other people to work, but I mean it was a Nintendo project.
Gotcha,
they had it planned out. I mean I imagine that this is what they're talking about. Like they're not talking about, hey, we make video games, now we're making movies. I think it's more like, they would be producing the project, commissioning out other people that have the skills and resources to do it. I know the Star Fox one was made by like real anime houses that work on like Bleach and all that, Naruto and all that stuff.
Naruto?
And I really loved that. I thought it was amazing. I'm like, man, if I was little, I mean, I loved it now, but like if I was little, that's the type of shit that like I remember Nintendo Power would come with like comics every once in a while, like a Metroid comic or a Star Fox comic, and I was like, fuck, this is awesome. And the anime is like really one of those things where I'm like, man, I never thought that I'd see this type of thing. And I think that now we're finally at a place where media is so, making videos isn't a big deal. We're almost at a point that making movies isn't a big deal. Like people can just do it. Like we could make a movie right now if we wanted to with a camera, it would be good.
Oh, it'd be good.
But whatever. A couple years ago, we couldn't do that.
Colin does Daleks.
Oh, yeah. I'd like to see that shit. So I think that there's also been a lot of other rumors about Nintendo talking about making actual anime series, and will it go on Netflix or this or that, whatever. The distribution, it gets weird. So when you say the real movie or direct-to-DVD at this point is even more of an insult than it used to be.
Yeah, it is. And that's why I just don't want Aladdin 4 Jafar Needs Glasses. I want like a real goddamn movie.
Okay, first off, do not talk shit about Return of the Jafar or King of Thieves. both fucking awesome movies.
Mm-hmm.
There was no Aladdin 4. If there was, I'm sure it would be horrible. But 2 and 3 were dope as fuck. But I think that with Nintendo, it's like, yeah, if they did direct to DVD, that would be an issue. But it's like if they made a Netflix movie, I think that could be really cool, really good even. And I think that we're in a place right now in 2016 when you look at CG movies, like it kind of sucks that Ratchet and Clank is seemingly not what
good
it could have been.
Yeah.
And it seems that it's awesome, but it missed the mark of the game, of what made the game special. It's like it didn't. I didn't see it, but from reading the reviews, it seems like it didn't kind of use any of the inventive weapons or kind of really hit on that level of that's a big part of the game.
What is Ratchet?
Yeah, what is Ratchet and Clank? And they missed the mark on that. I think that it's a little bit easier to nail that with Mario and stuff, because I feel like Mario is a little simpler than Ratchet and Clank in that regard. It is him trying to rescue the princess. That's the narrative. There's not that element that you can miss. You know what I mean?
I worry about fleshing it out enough to make it a full-blown movie. That's the thing, is like right now Princess Peach and Mario aren't in-depth characters. There's not a lot of depth to them when you play these games, right? It is like, hey Mario, I'm making you a cake, come over. And then she gets kidnapped and then we go through all these worlds, right? But there's potential there, but I worry if Nintendo's there holding on too tight, do we ever get that potential where we're getting into who Mario is and all this stuff and they're like, well, no, we don't need to know that. Just get him out there. Bowser's made this fucking thing, a floating castle.
But I think that's where it's at, though. I mean, I think that we'd be crazy to think that we're going to get a fleshed out Mario movie that like.
I just want to know his motivations. I want to know what his drinking problem.
I think the Mario game, it needs to be simple. It needs to be it's a kid movie. It's like in that movie. I mean, that needs to make a lot of money so that they can then make the Zeldas or the Metroids or whatever. I think that the best foot forward would be to make the Nintendo movie.
Yeah, that I totally agree with. Yeah,
make the Lego movie of Nintendo.
Some kind
movies.
of crossover that's going to end Nintendo. It's Sonic. Sonic is there.
Don't call it Smash Bros, but it's Smash Bros. It's all the characters. Like if they just did the plot of Super Smash Bros. Brawl, the single player campaign, and made that into a thing. There's some bad guy who, it doesn't matter who the fuck it is. All the bad guys are getting together and fighting, and then all the good guys come. They're all introduced. At first they're kind of fighting, but then they join up to beat the bad guy. Sold.
Just don't ruin the trailer, because everybody will act like that was going to be a big reveal, that the good guys were going to get together at the end.
I think that, I'm a little more bullish about this thing, Greg. I think this is like an obvious win for them. And it's shocking that they really, I know that they really got burned with the Mario game movie, like, a long time ago. And that they've been like really quite siloed away from kind of the realities of entertainment. And they've been very prideful and they've been very insular with their IP. But I think that, this can go in multiple ways. And I think that all of the ways are pretty positive for them. They could invest in a Pixar style Mario movie, and what would even be more interesting is if they really got into bed with Pixar, or they really got into bed with DreamWorks, or one of these big studios, and was like, "You guys do it, and we'll license it, and we'll green light it." But like a studio that has talent, it's gonna be published by Disney or something like that, and you have a whole marketing arm, a whole marketing empire kind of behind it. I think that movie can't lose, even if it's bad. I don't think that like a Mario movie like that can lose.
But I don't think they'll do that, is my thing. I think Nintendo's too stubborn for this to let that much up.
I think maybe things are changing, though. I think that and that's the thing, is I think I would agree with you, except for the last year or so, or the last 18 months. They just are a little different now, or they're changing. I don't know if it's fast enough. I don't know if it's too late, but I really think that they're changing. The smartphone games is a really great sign that, while they're not for me, and I don't give a flying fuck about these games like Miitomo, a lot of people do, and this is probably the direction they need to go in, especially for the native market in Japan. And I think that when you really think about what would be, I think, the smartest and boldest move for them, and what I think would be a really exciting secondary, maybe even tertiary move once a Mario movie comes out, or a Pokemon movie, or whatever it might be, would be, and I know that they've done Pokemon movies, but you understand what I'm saying. And Pokemon really was the last big marketing fucking shotgun blast, right? When you really think about it, like, card game, cartoon, movie, all these kind of things, like they really were all on board with that kind of shit. So there is that. But I think Metroid's obviously the one that's ripest for the picking in terms of real storytelling, a real movie with real people in it, not a cartoon. And this is one of those things where you can you can almost reverse engineer Metroid to be something that everyone's like, what the fuck is Metroid? When they're in the movie theater and they realize like, wow, this is a game series from the mid 80s. This is awesome. Stars a female kind of heroine. She's sexy, but she's badass, and she's fucking killing all these monsters.
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, it could be someone like that. I mean, hopefully not, but But so to me, it's like, I would love to see them do something bold like that, because I think everyone kind of defaults to like, well, Mario and Pokemon. And I'm like, well, all right, those make sense. You can even do something with Donkey Kong, you can do something with Kirby. It doesn't matter. Like, those are cartoons. Then you have something like Zelda, which I think is dangerous, because what we really are losing sight of with Zelda, and I say this as a huge Zelda fan, is Zelda has no fucking story. So I don't think you really want to go in that direction and like shoehorn things into a silent protagonist and all these kinds of things. It's just not going to, I think people are going to look at it and be like, this isn't.
But I mean, that's what
Zelda?
the same thing with Zelda is the same thing I think with Metroid. And I think Zelda has a better shot of it, of being the one you put out there that is different. Link talks in this. I think the story makes sense in the terms of you have to unite all these artifacts that are spread out throughout these dungeons or whatever. And that's why you get all these different cool areas to go into, fight, meet new characters, raise up this army or whatever. But that's the one like we always talk about in the way of like, I think the echo chamber core audience, whatever you want to call it, gives Zelda so much credit that it's a big deal to us, so it should be a big deal. It must sell millions and millions and millions of copies, and it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Sells fine, does well. We're all excited about it. We love Zelda, but I think that could be the one where it could be you get that in front of people, and like the people who had no idea what Lord of the Rings were before Lord of the Rings came out, you could see people going like, that trailer looks awesome, and he's fighting that one-eyed spider, and this is happening, and he's fucking knocking lightning bolts or whatever back at this redheaded dude.
Yeah,
it's like I could go see that movie.
Zelda doesn't have the resonance, but Zelda has, and I don't want to say Metroid doesn't have the respect because I'm a Metroid fan, but Zelda has like a je ne sais quoi about it, where people, it's a little sacred to people, I think, and like I think it is what it is. And I think the exciting thing about Metroid, what I really want to see them do with Metroid, and that's why I'm confident Metroid is an NX launch title as well, is that they kind of probably realize that, I mean, you want to talk about Zelda not selling great. I mean, a good example is like Skyward Sword was outsold by Uncharted 3, which to me was like unbelievable, considering the install base, considering the resonance of Zelda, considering that we hadn't, people were not too happy with Twilight Princess, but it seemed like Skyward Sword just like didn't really do it for people. It sold 4 million copies, I think. But with Metroid sells way worse.
Right.
And that's why I think it's exciting, because now they can have this thing where it's like Nintendo fans are excited about, the dorks and the nerds about Nintendo are excited about, but then like they show it in the theater and it's got fine production value and it's $100 million movie and it's all these kinds of things. And it's Metroid for a whole new generation, or just a whole group of people that have no idea what the hell Metroid is, but it's a movie they can enjoy without any context for the games. And I think this is a great backdoor into like revitalizing that series and then figuring out what you can do with these IP that make a lot of sense. So I really feel like what I'd be most excited about is, Mario movie will be interesting. I think that'd be easy. I don't think there is a plot problem there. I don't think you have to have a plot like that's like really very deep. I think you can do something, like I said, cute with Animal Crossing or whatever you want to do. But I think Metroid's the one where they can make a serious good movie and they can really reap benefits from it that will reach back into their catalog and allow people to play those games again and realize that those games are great, and let them kind of, let Retro or another studio kind of run with the series and tell us and give us a different look at Nintendo, something that's dark and serious. I mean, they've had this series since the very beginning of the NES, so it's not like this is a new thing for them. But
see, that's like wave 4 or wave 3 or 4 though, because
that's what I was saying. It's a secondary or tertiary.
Yeah, well, I think it'd be Mario, and then it would be Zelda, because Zelda starts to deal with that, where it gets darker, but it's still bright and still light, and you can enjoy it, and it's not all scary times. And then but I don't think we'll ever get to that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's this whole thing is crazy because they're talking about not doing any live action, so like, it would all have to be cartoon.
Yeah, that's what I saw, and that's all I'm saying is like my hope is that they realize that that's probably a mistake.
I just don't know if it is. But I agree with you that a live action Metroid would be awesome. I don't necessarily think a live action Zelda would work that well. I think that a CG one could, but I just think that it's too hard to do that right. Is my problem. Is like, it's like Lord of the Rings. Yeah, if it's Lord of the Rings, fuck yeah. But it's not gonna be. And I think if it was a Netflix show, like we said a long time ago, I'm totally cool with that, because there's a different level of quality associated with that, and you have more time to explain things, and the budget's just different. If a Zelda live action movie was in theaters, I can't imagine it looking right or feeling right. And
I think I would put it as CG, and I think that that's what I'm doing with the Zelda movie. I'm not jumping out into live action. I'm staying away from that in general with my pitches or whatever. But the problem is that I think it would have a better shot just in the fact of like, when a kids movie comes out, I just don't give a rat's ass. And so like when Mario comes out, I know it's going to be a kids movie unless they're getting into his drinking problem. And then, so like when that comes out, it's just like, that's not doing anything to push it forward. Whereas I think a Zelda movie can go both ways. It does expand out. You've seen the one IGN put up the fake trailer for the Zelda movie, like the way everyone freaked the fuck out. Yeah. That would still be there.
Yeah, but I think, and I totally agree with you. I think a CG Zelda is the right move. But a perfect example of what I'm saying is that Zelda trailer. If you look at it now, I mean, it's shit.
Sure. Yeah,
it's really like it looks. It's as excited as you were back then. It was more of the idea.
Right. Somebody's doing this.
And back then it was novel and fresh, and that was crazy. But now it's like, oh god, this is really rough. You saying Pokemon, I don't even know why. Like that didn't come to mind. Like the Pokemon movies, it's different because Pokemon is a cartoon, already, and like those movies were. I don't look at them as video game movies. They're cartoon movies. You know what I mean?
Sure, but that was just my example of the only time since Captain N where which was like what I grew up with, where they were like, let's just fucking do it. Like everything. Like, because, you were young or maybe not even born, but like there was a Nintendo at one time that was like all about merch and all about licensing. I had fucking Legend of Zelda cereal. I had Super Mario Brothers cereal. I had a fucking Zelda lunchbox. I had all these things that just were unheard of, really, unless you go to like the Nintendo store or something, like where these were quite ubiquitous when I was a kid. And Pokemon to me, and like from like 98, 99 to like the early 2000s, that was an example to me. I mean, I remember I had my Team Rocket action figures just on my computer monitor, and I was like, I would never be able to even get my hands on something like this unless I went to Japan, unless I went to like specialty shops or got my Funko Pop, whatever it is. In other words, these were just more ubiquitous. I had my Zelda figures. I had like all of these kinds of things, and
I think you're off about that. Like if you go to a toy store or even a Target, Nintendo takes up a surprising amount of like the action figure.
I only see Amiibo when I go to these stores.
But besides Amiibo,
non-electronics,
there's non-video game stuff. Like there's like, it's surprising me that there's so much Diddy Kong action figures and Samus and
that's what I need.
Link and I know, right? But I mean, it's way
Diddy
more.
Kong sucks. Can we just
like,
say it?
Way more expansive than I thought. Like there's Star Fox and stuff. Like
that's pretty cool. But yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but what I'm
really
saying
weird.
is like they really were all about like pushing an IP with Pokemon, and that made sense, and they made a lot of money. And I just think Nintendo needs to change. And I think that they're starting to realize that they have to leverage their IP and their licensing. They are just not going to be the Nintendo that they were ever again. And anyone who thinks that that's going to happen is wrong. They're done in that respect. Like they're not going to be this powerhouse of 50 million, 70 million, 80 million, 100 million selling consoles. It's not going to happen anymore. So you need to figure out ways to like leverage those things. And since they refuse to go third party, which would be obviously the salvation of that company, obviously, I think that they have to start like getting really comfortable with just heavy licensing. The fact that there's not like a Nintendo like theme park in the United States, or like that they haven't buddied with someone in an intimate way, whether it was Universal, whether it was Disney, or whoever.
They're working on it.
Oh, they are. Okay. So, yeah, that's right. So like the fact that like, why didn't that happen in 1990?
Yeah.
Like this is what I'm saying. Like why isn't there a Nintendo channel? Like a really like on television? Like why didn't they like become this ubiquitous thing? Like they just let it go. And it's just kind of crazy how this company really like the Q score kind of aspect of this company has changed so much, I think, in a way. Mario and they just kind of like threw it away. And the thing is that they have this IP. And they're always going to have it. And so they should leverage it in as many ways as possible. And I think that's going to be smart for them to do. I think that a Mario movie made by Pixar would make hundreds of millions of dollars in profit. And I think that allowing them to do secondary and tertiary moves, like making a Metroid movie and taking risks. Because I'll tell you right now, with all these people that are talking about how much money they have, they can't take too many risks. If they start dumping money into these projects and they fail, they're going to have no money. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it all pans out for them. I'm rooting for them. And the crazy thing we were talking about with distribution platforms is like, what if the NX is the distribution platform?
Mm-hmm. I hope not. I think that's a bad move. I mean, they need what you're saying is right, that they need to use their IP to get out to different people to have them come back for the games. I think the CG route's amazing. I wish that Pixar would be involved. They're not going to, and Disney's not going to be involved. They have too much shit going on. They have to make their own movies. DreamWorks, absolutely. I think this is something that would be right up their alley. There's a whole bunch of other smaller
and
CG.
Jack Black is Mario.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I can totally see that type of shit happening. And like again, like it's not like I'm looking forward to the Mario movie. Like that is going to be the kids thing. But I think that the smartest call for them would be to do a Nintendo Lego movie style thing. Pokemon, even if they did a Pokemon movie that wasn't related to the cartoon, I think that could obviously kill. I think that is the easiest win for them besides just Nintendo straight up. Mario's going to perform super well. I think Zelda is the next choice after that. But I love the idea of a Nintendo cinematic universe that I actually think would work with DC's planning, but in a way that DC's I don't think is kind of working out. Sure. Where if they started with the everyone's here and then kind of splinter out, splinter out in a way that they're not splintering out to then re-team up again. It's more just like
now you go off in your own universe.
Exactly. It's just like here's introducing like everybody knows these Nintendo characters. You might not know the 8 Fire Emblem characters. You might not know Captain Falcon or whatever, but here they are. And then if they ever get their own thing, whether it's a movie or a 10-minute anime short on YouTube or a Netflix series or a one-off special, whatever it is. Like, I think that they have so many IP that work together in a way that we've seen with Smash Bros. Like, we can see these things that should clash somehow not clash because they're Nintendo. That's something unique to Nintendo and Disney. I can't think of many more other people like that. So I'm excited by this, but it's the same type of thing where I'm like, I remember when we heard about Crazy Taxi movies. That never happened. We've been hearing about Metroid movies for 20 years, and like that shit never happened. So we'll see how this goes down.
We got that show about one. That show about
the
fan
short
film.
Yeah. I mean, we've gotten so many fan films. I think that's actually like a bigger issue with this. And that's what I was saying about the live action stuff is that I think CG gives this shit a chance because live fan films have already let us see what these things could be in real life.
Right.
So it's like, unless they're super high budget, and even then we're getting Transformers. It's like, I think the CG is the right route because it's the only way that these things can really work and actually impress us. Otherwise, we're going to get let down 100%.
We're just going to get a Splatoon movie.
That is true. Yeah. I mean, if they made a Splatoon like cartoon that went like maybe not a movie, but a cartoon, and then if that led into a movie, I think that they can turn that into a fucking franchise.
Yeah.
Not for me, but
for Pear.
some motherfuckers out there. Pear and his kids.
Pear does love Splatoon.
Absolutely.